Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. You see, I got my friend Dhruvi with us, and she's a student at Babson. Good afternoon, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Hi, my name is Dhruvi Reddy. I'm a rising sophomore at Babson College studying finance, and I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit before the show about the class that you have taken at Babson. So can you tell us a little bit about the class and what your experience was with it and what you learned?
Yeah, so recently, my first year at Babson College, I took FME, which stands for Foundations of Management and Entrepreneurship. And I started a venture along 15 other students, and we built a business called Frame You, which is a minimalistic poster representative of Babson's campus. And it was directed towards Babson students, parents, and alumni. And we made around $1,908 in profit. So that was really great. And we donated all the proceeds to our fellow team members' nonprofit organization called Fluent Futures, which helps non-English speaking students speak English.
All right, I have a bunch of questions about this. The poster, what was the picture? Like
So,
you sold a
yeah,
lot of them.
it was basically the black and white, so minimalistic, and it had the coordinates of where Babson's located on the map. And it had like, kind of like in a map type of setting where like has like the GPS and different routes and all those type of lines. We made it look like that. So it was kind of like a masterpiece and some
Mhm.
really cool piece of artwork. Actually, one of our team members created the whole design by themselves and it was all black and white. And it really just captures the memories of what Babson is all about. And you could see like where our dining hall, library, all the places, and by just recognizing how big the lines and shapes are.
All right, so tell me about the experience of being on a team with 14 other people. Now, in
It
my
was
class, we have a team of four, and that can be a little hairy and sometimes. 15 seems like a big number.
Yeah, 15 is definitely a lot of people, but I'm fortunate to have been able to work with a great group of students. So we all had different roles. We had primary and secondary roles. I was actually the chief financial officer, so I managed the finances. But within each of us really helped out in each department, whether that was finance, marketing, human resources, sales. We made sure to really contact all our friends and every single person we know because we sold around 146 posters. And to be able to, create that profit margin and get people going, we all had to try really hard. And we basically had no CEO in our team, which was really interesting. So we had a flat team structure. So that really made sure everyone is treated equally. And we had roles that we were designated to, as I said, the primary and secondary roles. And we worked together efficiently as a team. And in the end, we had a great grade in the course
Mhm.
and we worked really great. Even through like some hardships, we eventually made it work. And I feel like, a lot of, your business could go into positive or negative profit, but ours went really positive and that's really good. And we actually got funded by Babson College, so that's really interesting.
So, like you said, it stinks when something goes wrong in a project, but it's super important because something goes wrong in real life. So,
Yeah.
be able to learn to how to deal with that at the classroom level prepares you for the real world because I know
Yeah.
I've worked in a lot of companies where things don't go right. And then one of the things I liked about what you said is that everyone was involved in sales. This isn't,
Hmm.
oh, that's your title. You're involved in sales. I'm CFO. I just got to make sure we make a profit. I think
Yeah.
it's important in today's world. Everyone is in sales now. We got to promote our company. So
Exactly.
tell me about what was your favorite takeaway from the class then?
My favorite takeaway is that so we actually had like two different professors. One was focused on like the human behavior and psychology part of it, called like organizational behavior concepts. So we had to do like a lot of assignments and we did a lot of presentations related to that. And was one was the entrepreneurship professor. So solely focused on the entrepreneurship aspects and building a business from start to finish with the experimentation and feasibility and viability process. And what was my favorite takeaway was that entrepreneurial thought and action could be applied in any scenario. So it's not just within the business, but it's within leadership and helping collaborate with different individuals, whether that's in like your workplace or in any team setting that you're in. And it really like helped me with my leadership skills as well as learn how to understand people better with like the human psychology. And we actually took a disc assessment in the beginning of the year. So it's kind of like a character personality test. And I noticed that I was really high in the D and I. So that's like dominant and influential. And some things I could work on was social and consciousness. That was the S and C part. So it really allowed me to understand my other team members who also took that same quiz. And during this course, it was a lot of presentations, like I said. So being able to effectively work with their team and have everyone included and not, take the action, but let everyone contribute as well. So that was like a learning point for me.
And that's a challenge. Like you said, you've mentioned you have a strong day. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of students in my class who have that. And it's like, okay, but you can't do it all yourself. You have
Yes.
to be a leader, you have to include others. And I have some students who are like, you go, my friend. I'll gladly let you do it all, you know. That's
Yeah.
not practical. I like the organizational part of it too, is like understanding why will your customers buy this? How do you to
Exactly.
interact with each other? Because I have some teams where I'm just like, it's a long semester. They just don't click
Yeah.
at any level and stuff. So learning that skill is important because when you get into the workplace, you're not always going to get to be in charge. And, sometimes it's
Exactly.
interesting to see what
Gotta
happens.
take a step back for sure.
So, like you said, I like that it's spread out over the semester, and like you said, you get to make a
Even
lot
the year. Yes.
the
It's
whole
a year
year.
long course.
I remember that now. But it's nice to get up and make presentations because the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. It's really interesting to see that development from the beginning
Mhm.
to the end of the project. So, if people
Yeah.
want to learn more about this class, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, you guys could reach out to me on LinkedIn or even my email. My name is Dhruvi Reddy Rokamanagari, and my email, is drukumanagari1@babson.edu. So contact me through my Babson email.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you.